welcome to ASL 1. I'm going to be the teacher of this class. My name is Miss Thea. First, let's talk about ASL. Do you know what ASL stands for? If not, that's okay, I'm going to teach you. So ASL stands for American Sign Language. Let's learn the signs for that. So this is the sign for America. You take your hands like 2 5s and you intertwine them, and then you go in a little circle. America. This can also mean American, depending on the context. American sign. This is the sign for sign. 2 pointed fingers and they go in a little circle. Sign, and then language. So you have your pinky, your ring finger, and your middle finger up in the air. Go like this. Language, language. So that is American Sign Language, and we abbreviate that to ASL. So this is A, this is S, and this is L. ASL. So now you know 3 letters of the alphabet. So that is what this class is, American Sign Language, or ASL. And today I'm going to teach you how to introduce yourself in ASL. So first we're going to start off with saying hi. Hi. You just point at yourself with your pointer finger, and then am called. So you have 2 fingers together, your pointer and your middle finger together, and they click. Now, the important thing is that your dominant hand is on top. What is a dominant hand? So you may have heard people say, are you right-handed or left-handed? In ASL, knowing which you are is important. And it actually doesn't matter if it matches if you're right-handed or left-handed with other stuff. For example, if you write with your right hand or your left hand and you choose to do the opposite as your dominant hand in ASL, that's okay. What's important though is that once you decide this is my dominant hand, you stick with it. So in ASL, your dominant hand is the one that you spell with, so all the alphabet will do with our dominant hand. And it's also the hand that does the movement in a sign if only one hand does a movement. So I'll explain. For this sign, my non-dominant hand, which is my left hand, doesn't really do anything. It just sits there. My dominant hand is really the one doing most of the motion. It's the one tapping on top. My dominant hand is also the one that I would spell my name with. I spell ASL with. So knowing which hand is your dominant hand is important. So right now, maybe try doing ASL with your right hand and then doing ASL with your left hand and see which one feels more natural, and then decide, okay, this one's going to be my dominant hand, and then you will stick with it for all the rest of the class. So for me, whenever you're watching, I will be using my right hand as my dominant hand, but if you use your left, you would just kind of mirror me and go from there. So again, for our introductions, we're going to say hi, with my dominant hand is the one that I'm going to do that with. Hi, I, dominant hand again, and then am called. Am called. My dominant hand is on top. If your dominant hand is your left hand, just put that one on top. Am called. Now you might be wondering why I'm saying hi, I am called instead of hi, my name is. So in English we would say hi, my name is Thea, not hi, I am called Thea. But in ASL and the deaf community, they don't believe that your name is something that you possess. So it's not my name is, it's just what I am called. Which kind of makes sense if you think about it, because it's not necessarily your name. Lots of other people have that name, or even if you have a really unique name, it's just what your parents decided to call you. It's not necessarily something that you possess. So, kind of an interesting way of thinking about it. But that's how we do in ASL. We don't say my name is, we say I am called with your pointer finger. My is with your full hand on your chest, my. So my is your full hand, I is your pointer finger. I. We're gonna say I am called. So now that you've said, hi, I am called, you would spell your name. So let's go through the alphabet. Don't worry too much about memorizing all these right now. I really want you to focus on the letters of your name, but put your hands up and we're going to do this together, okay? So you should remember we did A, because we did ASL. So this is A. Your thumb is on the side and all your other fingers are down. A, okay? B, your 4 fingers are up in the air and they're together and your thumb is in front. B. C looks like this. If you turn it to the side, it does look like a C, but whenever we sign it, it actually goes facing forward. So don't twist it to the side, keep it going forward. C. D also looks like a D if you turn it sideways, but again, we're keeping it forward. So I have my middle finger touching my thumb and my pointer finger in the air for D. E, my thumb is like this and all my other fingers are kind of sitting on top. E. You might also see some people do it to where their fingers are really pulled back, but I do mine where it's kind of resting on the thumb. But if you want to pull it all the way back, that's fine. E or E. E. Next is F. So So we have our 3 fingers in the air and our thumb and our pointer finger are touching. A lot of people get mixed up between D and F. So for D, we see only our pointer fingers in the air. For F, everything else is in the air, the pointer finger and the thumb are touching. So make sure you remember D is this, F is this, okay? Next we have the letter G. For G, we have my pointer finger and my thumb is sticking out. And it looks like this, but this is how it's facing, palm in, okay? So we have G. H is very similar, you just stick your middle finger out as well, and your thumb kind of goes on these 2 little fingers down here. So G and then H. Next we have I, which is just your pinky finger in the air. J, you take your pinky and you draw a little J shape. So it starts palm out, and then we twist it so that palm is facing in. J, okay? Next we have K. K is a little bit tricky. So for K, we're going to have kind of like a peace sign, and then your thumb is going to go on your middle finger, and it kind of makes the middle finger go down. So like that, K. So again, that's peace sign, and then thumb goes on the middle part of your middle finger. After K, we have the letter L. L, pretty self-explanatory, it looks like a letter L. Next we have the letter M. So for M, you're going to have 3 fingers, and then your thumb goes under them, like this, M, M. For N, it's the same thing, except for you just remove 1 finger, your ring finger goes down. So M is 3 fingers, N is just 2. Next is O. O looks like an O from the side, but just like C and D, we're facing it forward, like this, O. So that's my thumb and my pointer finger touching, O. After O, we have the letter P, which looks a little bit harder than it is. It's actually the same as K, but down. So for K, we had a peace sign with your thumb on your middle finger. For K, it's exactly the same hand shape, you just put it down, P, okay? Q is your pointer and your thumb going down, and all your other hands are just touching your palm, Q. R, you twist your pointer and your middle finger together, R. S, we remember S from ASL, so your thumb goes in front. Sometimes people get mixed up between which one is A and which one is S. So A, your thumb is on the side, S is in front, okay? T, your thumb goes under your pointer finger, like that, T, T. Next we have the letter U, like this. So your 2 fingers, your pointer and your ring finger are together. Next we have V, so you just separate your fingers and it looks like a V. W, looks like a W. X, does not look like an X, but it's your pointer finger and you bend it, X. Y is your thumb and your pinky up. And for Z, you just use your pointer finger and you draw the letter Z in the air. Pretty nifty. So let's go through those together. I'll go a little bit faster, but don't worry if you don't have it perfected yet. We're just gonna practice. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, and P. Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Good job! Okay, so now that we have learned the alphabet and ASL, you should be able to spell your name. So for me, my name is Thea, which is T, H, I, A. So now take a moment to pause the video and practice spelling your name. If you need to re-watch the section where I go through the alphabet, you can do that. There's also a picture and a PDF back on the lesson page. If you just want to pull up, it's kind of like a cheat sheet to maybe jog your memory on how to sign all the letters of the alphabet. So go ahead and take a few minutes to do that and make sure you know how to spell your name. One thing to note with names is if you have a double letter in your name, there are a few ways to do that. One is to just hit it twice. So for example, Ella, I would do E-L-L-A. Notice how I kind of just hit it out twice so you can tell there's 2 of them. E-L-L-A. Another option is to slide. So let's say your name is Macy, you would do M-A-C-E-E. And if you slide to the right or to the left, depending on which your dominant hand is, you're sliding away from your body, it signifies that it's a double letter. There isn't really a rule on this in terms of if it's an O or if it's an S or whatever the case may be. Should you slide it or should you hit it twice? It really will just depend on what feels natural and where it's placed in your name. If If it's at the end of the name, typically you would just slide it, like if your name is Tess, T-E-S-S. But if it's in the middle, you might want to do T-E-S-S-A, kind of hitting it twice. And always moving away from your body whenever you're fingerspelling your name. You're going to move away from your body. Not a lot, it shouldn't take this much space, but for me I would go T-H-I-A. And you see it just kind of shifts a little bit away from my body. So go ahead and practice your name. Okay, so hopefully you've taken the time to practice fingerspelling your name. Before we move on, let's learn the sign for fingerspell. Fingerspell, fingerspell. So you're just kind of wiggling your fingers and they're moving away from your body. Fingerspell, fingerspell. So this is the sign for fingerspell. So that is whenever you use your hands to spell words. It can be to spell your name, it can be to spell other people's names, it can be to spell business names, brands. If you're spelling an English word but using ASL and it's not a sign, you're fingerspelling. So that's the sign for fingerspell. Fingerspelling is also great if you don't know the sign for something. You could fingerspell and then the person, if you're talking to a deaf person, they might be able to teach you that sign, or it's just nice in case you don't know a sign, you could just fingerspell it. But really, as you're going through this class and you're building up your vocabulary, you're going to want to try and focus on signs and not rely so heavily on fingerspelling. Fingerspelling is really just for proper nouns such as names. So now with your introduction, you should be able to sign, hi, I am called, and then you would fingerspell your name. The next thing you would say after meeting someone, presumably since this is an introduction, would be nice to meet you. So for that, we're going to go nice, nice, which is, this is what your hand shapes look like, nice. And again, your dominant hand is on top and is the one that's moving, so nice. To meet, for meet, it's just your pointer finger in the air and your thumb is in front of these fingers like this, meet, meet. My dominant hand is the one that's moving, so these kind of represent people. This is the person you're meeting and this is you, and you're going towards that person, meet, meet. So nice to meet you. The next thing you're going to say is, I am learning ASL. This lets the person that you meet know that you're not fluent yet, you're still learning, and that will allow them to maybe sign a little bit slower and know how to go through the conversation at a student level. So you're going to say, I, learning, ASL. So I, you just point yourself, learning, imagine this is like a book. You're taking the information and you're putting it on your brain. So learning, ASL. Now in ASL, we do not sign words that we often see in English like a, am, the, to. Words like that in ASL aren't used. You just say I, learning, ASL. So that is pretty much your introduction all complete. You would say, hi, I am called, fingerspell your name, then nice to meet you, I am learning, ASL. The next thing you might want to do is if you just met someone, you would want to know their name. So you're going to say, you are called what? This is what. Now, if you notice, my hands go like this and I kind of shake back and forth, but something else happened, which is my eyebrows went down, down. That signifies that I am asking a question. In English, whenever we are speaking, we have vocal changes that show if we're asking someone a question or if we're just making a statement. And you might have never noticed this whenever you're listening to someone talk, but your brain is automatically processing, oh, that was a question, oh, that was a statement. In ASL, the way that you do that, since you're not speaking with your voice, is you have facial expressions. So when eyebrows are down, it means I'm asking you a question and I want an answer from you. So I would say, you are called what? My eyebrows are down. What? What? These are called WH questions. We'll learn other different types of signing questions, but WH questions include what, where, how, who, when, and they all have your eyebrows down when you're asking a question like that. What? What? So you are called what? And then the person would say, oh, I am called Jim or Bob or something like that. So that's it for the video portion of this lesson. Now there are some other resources that you can use back on the site. There are PDFs that have written descriptions of some of the things that I talked about in this video and some additional information. There's also individual video clips that you'll be able to see each individual sign that I taught in this lesson. So if you're thinking, wait, what's the sign for language again? you don't have to rewatch this whole video. You can just go to the vocab page and find that video. Now with ASL, it's really important to practice, and the beautiful thing about ASL is that you can practice it anywhere, anytime. It's silent, so it's not going to disrupt anyone around you. So if you're in the car, go through the alphabet, go through your introduction. Think about, okay, American Sign Language. Just go through and kind of practice the vocabulary. Obviously, everyone knows practice makes perfect, so the more that you practice, the more natural it'll become. Obviously, at first, whenever you're thinking about the alphabet and spelling words, it might be a little bit tricky to remember everything. But I promise by the end of this course, you'll be able to spell anything. It'll just be like riding a bike. You won't even have to think about it. It'll just happen. Some important things to note from this lesson: dominant hands, make sure you're really careful and you decide which one to use and then stick to it. If you switch back and forth, it's very evident to someone who's watching you sign. So for example, you can't do, hi, I am called, and then fingerspell with this hand, and then go back to using your dominant hands for this and switch back and forth. It just doesn't work. You have to use your dominant hand for fingerspelling and then as the dominant hand in the signs. Also, make sure that you check the news page of this class because I post the help session dates. Help sessions are great if you want to come interact with other students in this class and myself. You can ask me any questions you have or if there's anything specific that you want to practice. And I also plan activities such as learning how to sign songs or playing games. Sometimes I have deaf guests come, so that's super cool. So make sure that you check the news page and I will post about those. Also, if you ever have any questions or concerns or issues with uploading a video or anything like that, feel free to message me. That is what I'm here for. You just click the message tab to start a new message and type in Thea and my name will come up. I think I'm the only Thea on this system, so it'll probably autofill that for you. And then you can just write me your message and I will respond as soon as I can. I think that is all for this first lesson. This is crazy. Okay, so go on now and continue on with the lesson. Make sure that you practice, and that is all. Great job. Bye, guys.